Curious, somebody brought up something to me in regards to not schizophrenia, but it might have been exactly what's described here, schizoaffective disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious, I don't know if you know this, you probably do, what the difference is between current day schizophrenia and what was called schizoaffective disorder.
Yeah, I mean, that was my dad anyway, and clearly I am suffering from certain hallucinations, but also I don't know what the difference is. Like, my character doesn't know, are these echoes and whispers because of of the technology that I've been dealing with, or is this, right, I don't know. My character doesn't know where it's coming from, right? So you're not playing the disorder, you're playing what the experience is. Right? And so we only find out at the end of the movie that my dad took his own life and had that particular mental illness. And then you can only sort of retroactively realize, maybe I also have that, right? But you don't play that, because you don't want to give, first of all, you wouldn't want to give that away at the beginning, but also, all he knows is he's starting to hear things, but you're all hearing things because you're hearing the box, and it all, like, you know, when he says to his boss, he's like, "Do you hear that?" But he's not even really there. That was all hallucination, right?
Yeah.
So, the magic movie. Yes.
Just a silly question.
Sure.
HTDA, I didn't quite catch that, at the end.
Yeah, well, that's the name of the company.
Yeah, but he spoke it out loud.
Finally, at the very end, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just wondering what it was. Do you remember?
Now I don't remember. but it's, yeah, I mean, it's the name of the company. But, yeah, that's a good question, and I should have remembered it. So, thank you. Yeah, wait, yes.
What do you know, or what can you share about the creation of the box and the decision to, the mechanisms around it that would keep the words, the prompts, and all of that? That's so
I think it just came out of the imagination of Patrick. I mean, I think he's been working on this. There was a short film of this in 2022. And so I think that mechanism, I think really what he was doing was he was trying to figure out what kind of technology would be around in the near future that would allow you to access a hard drive that, so he created a mechanism that he thought might emulate that. And I think the stabilizing words is just something he came up with. But it sort of makes sense, right? Like, I mean, I think the way I describe it and the way that it sort of plays out, there's a sense to it. I think there was a logic around it. But, stream of consciousness, therapy, words, trigger words, think about things. I think it's all related to his understanding of mental health and therapy. Like, that's not so foreign. It felt familiar, right? It was just treated, as Ben said earlier, it was just treated like an engineer would treat it rather than a therapist would treat it.
Yeah, no, I was very curious that it wasn't just like switch it on and it works.
Yeah.
There was so much thought and emotion, that went behind the mechanism, the electronics. It was essential.
And it's a flawed machine. That's the other thing that I thought was interesting. Like, it's an imperfect machine. We're still in the middle of trying to figure out how it works. And that's, so you have, I don't think the film really investigates it as much as it seems like it does, but the moral implications of having the technology that is not ready for prime time, being hired by the government to solve, like, that moral thing, I felt was an extremely compelling topic, especially when I read the script the first time. I thought that it's dealing with so many issues, but that's something we're dealing with right now with technology and AI, and how we communicate and deal with that in our own lives. What are the moral implications, that kind of stuff. So, somebody else had something? Yes.
I'm just curious, it's probably a simple answer, but there's just a lot of actors having to give a lot of emotional performances off the voices from the box. I was just curious, like, were the people doing the voices on set with you in those scenes?
I mean, the lines were being said. The lines were being said.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty somber toned movie, you know, like the whole, we were on set like going, hey, how you doing? Like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna be real serious. Like, you know, like, so there was sort of it's not a word, but a quietude, does that make sense? So the set was sort of a subdued set anyway, so that we could all just sort of be present. You know, I think I mean, it's actually, if you watch it, it's a bunch of short scenes, right? There are these moments, there's a lot of, maybe too much of me just being, you know, which was really painful for me for real. Like, I'm a little tired of me now. That's another day of signal for the bald head. And so there wasn't a lot of like, there's no action sequences, you know. And so I think that everyone was given the time and the space, and the crew was super cool. It was a great crew to work with, and so that the space was available to us to sort of be present, you know, and be quiet and just sort of deal with what's going on, you know. Yes.
Yeah, your character goes through a very quiet internal journey, and I'm curious how you struck the balance between telling the story and then keeping the emotions bottled within. Was that a challenge on set as far as how to strike that balance, or?
Well, it's shot out of sequence, right? I mean, films are shot out of sequence, and so you have, I mean, again, it's like, you don't want to give away all your secrets, but really, if you try to deal with each scene independent and just realize what's happened before, it's each scene individual. In terms of telling a story, that's not my job. That's the director's job. How he's going to slice it together, which take he wants to use, what level of performance he wants, that's up to him. My job is to do my best to tell the truth in that moment, right? That's the difference between this and being on stage. So the telling of the story is not my job. My job, I've said this before, I'm paint. I'm paint, that's all I am, right? So the director uses me, and I'm his, maybe I'm also his brush a little bit, but I'm mostly his paint. And he gets to lay me on, or, you know, as thickly or as thinly as he wants to, and then put it together at the end. And so the storytelling that's not my job. My job is to just be present in each moment and let the script do the work. So the journey is written in the script. You know, I didn't live it linearly. It was a pretty tough month. Like, it was a heavy month. It was a very heavy month, you know. But it was also a great month because it was my birthday was at the end of it, and it was like the acting on my birthday, like, oh, well, that's what you know. But yeah, that wasn't my job to go. I mean, if it was successful, that's great, but that's really the director and the writer.
Well, yeah, it was successful, so pretty
Well,
good.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Let's go for 2 more questions, just because it's
I
kind
can't
of.
believe how many questions, consider.
Yeah, likewise.
Very nice. Anybody else?
Peterman.
I'm just wondering, you know, that clearly this is a big project for you. You went through a lot, very grueling. How do you think it changed you going through this project?
Didn't change me. I mean, yeah, like, it was great. It was really, like, it did. Like, I'm an old man, right? So it's just another. I mean, I love working. I loved doing it. I loved doing it way more than I liked watching it. I really didn't like watching it. I watched it because I wanted to see what it looked like. I don't need to see it again. And so I know it's going to be some other festivals. I'll probably show up and not watch it. And I'm feeling it viscerally watching it. Like, I'm remembering moments that were, like, I remember it physically. But everything I do informs, like, you know, like, that's life, right? Everything you do in life informs who you are and what you do. Like, you know, even playing that shitty candlestick bowling, like, you know, like, even that, like everything impacts you. So it didn't change me, but it definitely impacted me. Like, I'm now confident that I can have a lead in a movie. I am confident that I don't like watching myself be a lead in a movie, you know? And so I don't think change isn't what I would say. I mean, if I were your age and I did that, that probably would have been very significant, right? But at the age of 61, it feels like, yeah, it feels all right, it feels pretty normal. You know? to do it, again, to watch it, not normal, not normal. Okay, one more question. Okay, good, no more questions. Thank you very much, thank you all for staying.